for the World Diabetes Day campaign. I'll be joined on this webinar with a colleague from the advocacy team, Bruno Hellman, and colleagues from the communications team, Margot Isabert and Adelson Randy. So we'll talk you through the various elements of the World Diabetes Day 2022 campaign, which is only a few weeks away. So November is coming up close, and November 14 is just under 3 weeks away. Before I go into the presentation, some housekeeping. So this session is being recorded, and all participants, everyone who registered for the webinar, will receive the recording and the slides over the next few days. And secondly, we'll have a Q&A at the end of the webinar, but please post your questions in the Q&A feature, and then we will answer them at the end of the session as time allows. So let's start with, I'll start with an overview of what the campaign is about. So our focus this year, so the World Diabetes Day 2002 campaign is the second year of our 3-year campaign, 2021-2023, focused on the theme access to diabetes care. In each of the 3 years, we have a specific focus, and in this year we are focusing on access to diabetes education with the tagline slogan that you see on the screen: diabetes education to protect tomorrow. And we have two main key messages which which inform all the activities and materials of the campaign. Firstly, one targeted at people living with diabetes, which you see on the top of the screen, highlighting how that over 90% of diabetes care is self-care. So for most of the time, with the condition, people living with diabetes are looking after themselves. So they need to have the knowledge and education to be able to make informed decisions. So this aspect of the campaign is very much highlighting the people with diabetes needing to be empowered with the information to be able to manage their condition to avoid complications. And secondly, we have a focus on healthcare professionals. Of course, with the numbers of people with diabetes continuing to rise, with 1 in 10 adults currently living with diabetes, according to the latest IDF estimates, it's important that health professionals are equipped with the knowledge to diagnose, detect, and treat diabetes, and also to provide ongoing support for people with diabetes throughout their lifetime with the condition. So through the messaging and through some of the materials and activities which we will talk about today, is really highlighting the need to invest in diabetes education for healthcare professionals, and also facilitate opportunities for health professionals to update their knowledge. So these are the overarching messages informing our activities and our materials. And now I move on to the different ways that that people can support our campaign. So firstly, moving on to, so I mentioned the messaging which informs our materials. So this slide shows all the resources that we have available to inform advocacy and awareness activities. So these are the materials that we traditionally make available as part of the World Diabetes Day campaign. So we have a campaign toolkit, which gives an overview of the campaign, the theme, the key messages, all the resources available, and all the activities that we encourage our members and the wider diabetes community, global diabetes community, to do in November. We have a series of posters, which you can see also on the slide. So we've created one set of posters for each of the key messages. So one targeting specifically people living with diabetes, and one targeting healthcare professionals, and we make them available with different character versions so that they apply as much as possible to different global settings. Then we have a series of infographics, which you can see on the right of the screen. Again, one infographic for each of the target audiences. So, one for people living with diabetes and one primarily targeting healthcare professionals, and also highlighting the need to invest in diabetes education, so also targeting policymakers. Then we have some short animated videos that, again, using the visual identity and the look and feel of the campaign. And these videos can be, the idea is these videos to be used on social media channels, and also to be used on websites, blogs, etc. And then a series of social visuals. And lastly, we have, this is an ongoing item of the campaign, is some merchandise to be used in if you're organizing a physical activity or on-site face-to-face activity. So we have our Blue Circle pins, which have been available for many years, and also our Blue Circle bracelets, both of which are available for purchase from our website. So all these materials are available for download. The link is available on the screen. You can see the link on the screen. We have them available in English, French, and Spanish. And we also, of course, encourage them to be widely adapted and translated into other languages. So if you would like to use any of these visuals within your own activities, but you would like to have it adapted into your own language, you can send us an email, and an email will be shown at the end of the presentation, and we're able to share all the source artwork with you. So those are the resources of the campaign. So which, as I mentioned, all available on our website. Secondly, another activity that we launched earlier this year as part of the campaign is a global survey that explores the levels of access to diabetes education among people living with diabetes and healthcare professionals. These are two short 10-minute surveys that we have that the aim is to have the results inform both this campaign and also future World Diabetes Day campaigns. So the last year of our current theme, but also campaigns going beyond 2023. So the survey is open until December 9. We have done an initial analysis of the results of the responses that came in between July and September, and the results will be promoted. The main findings will be promoted through the media releases that we'll be launching in November, just ahead of World Diabetes Day. So we very much encourage you to share this among your network of people living with diabetes and healthcare professionals. The survey is available. The surveys are available in multiple languages, and so we very much encourage you to do what you can to promote it. Then we have another key component of this year's campaign is our free education courses. So both for people living with diabetes and healthcare professionals. So earlier this year, we launched a new platform called Understanding Diabetes, which is part of our IDF School of Diabetes, which was launched several years ago. So this is a new platform which aims to host content that is targeted at people living with the condition, and also a more general audience. So anyone who wants to learn more about diabetes, so to increase general awareness of the condition. So we've, after launching it earlier this year, we have 2 courses currently available, an introduction to diabetes and one on the basics of blood glucose control. Both are 10 to 15-minute courses. And the first course is available in English and Spanish, and will be available in French in November. And the second course is also available in English and Spanish, and will be available in French at a later time. And we will be launching a 3rd course on the basics of insulin therapy in November as part of our Diabetes Awareness Month activities. So these are courses that we very much encourage you also, if you're living with diabetes, or if you just want to know more, to take, but also to share on your network, along with the courses that we have for healthcare professionals in the IDF School of Diabetes. So we have a number of free online courses, which you can see all the courses available on this screen, which look at various aspects of diabetes management, whether prevention, and also looking at specific complications of diabetes. So throughout your communications activities throughout November, we very much encourage you to share the free education resources that we have available. And now moving on to our advocacy call to action, I'll hand over the floor to my colleague Bruno to talk to this. Over to you, Bruno.
Thank you very much, Lorenzo. Good day, everyone. I'm happy to represent the advocacy department on this webinar and sharing how you can engage throughout the WDD campaign on involving or calling policymakers to act. So Lorenzo, if you please could go to the next screen and share the website.
Sure. Bear with me a second. Let's see. There we go.
Thank you. So if you go on the World Diabetes Day website, Education to Protect, you'll see that we have this call to action to policymakers. We are calling them in order to match the global diabetes target that have been agreed on last year, and they have to be matched by 2030. So the 5 targets or the 5 asks that we will be calling governments to act are 80% of people living with diabetes are diagnosed. 80% of people living with diabetes, 80% of people with diagnosed diabetes have good control of glycemia. 80% of people with diagnosed diabetes have good control of blood pressure. 60% of people with diabetes of 40 years old or older receive statins, and 100% of people living with type 1 diabetes have access to affordable insulin and blood glucose self-monitoring. So just to recap, this has been agreed by the World Health Assembly, and now it's our work to advocate to guarantee that the governments implement the policies needed to achieve those targets by 2030. So how you can engage? So if you could please scroll down a bit, Lorenzo. We are asking to our community to fill in, to submit a letter. Of course, you can make it personal by adding your personal diabetes story. So here, yes, please go ahead, Lorenzo. You fill in your first name, last name, and mail address, your country. And one thing that is important to mention is that you'll notice that a few countries are not listed on this drop-down button. And the reason is because we couldn't find the information needed for these countries in order to reach out to their ministries of health. So if this applies to you, we kindly ask you to write to advocacy@idf.org with the relevant information, so we can update the background button with the information for your country. So as you see, Lorenzo just fill in for the information for Belgium and automatically updated the information on the letter on the hand right side. you can choose to add other mails, such as the permanent mission at the United States, or for example, some local or regional governments. You can choose, so then you add the title, the name, and the position of this person. And then you can choose to type your personal story. We highly recommend you to make this personal, but also we advise to make it short, since we know that unlikely government officials or policymakers will have the time to read long communications.
So submitting it.
Then you click on submit, and you would have to you would collaborate with the campaign, and you'll be playing your part on educating on education to protect. And of course, if you like to download a printing copy, you can click on the button. So I think that's it from the advocacy part. I head back to Lorenzo, and I'm happy to clarify any questions on the discussion later.
Okay, thanks, Bruno. Just a small thing to add is after you've, whether you've chosen to download the letter, you can also download this social visual that you can share directly on Facebook, Twitter, LinkedIn, and download for Instagram. So you can directly share this post, this image on your channel with a personal message. So thank you, Bruno. I'll now move back to the presentation. And bear with me 1 second. Sorry, small technical issue. There we go. Okay, sorry about that. And now I'll hand over to my colleague Dilson to talk about how you can support the campaign online. Over to you, Dilson.
Hello, everyone. Welcome to the WD session. My name is Adil Sarandi. I'm going to walk you through how to support the campaign online. So as Lorenzo and Bruno just talked about the pledge to, and so at the end of the pledge to, you will have an image that can be easily shared online, and we kindly ask you to add the hashtags World Diabetes Day and Education to Protect once you're going to draft your message. This is a great way for us not to just spread the message of the campaign, but also to reach new people and make sure that those people are going to find the content and is going to come back and pledge as well, so we can do some big impact on the diabetes education in the world. So we kindly ask you to add the hashtags to every post. On the left here, you can see social media examples. Those are posts that we have all the content ready for you on our website for download. all the images available on the website, and also we draft messages that you can just copy and paste in case you want to share with your database and your audience. So everything is built very easy to be shared with anybody that wants to help us. On Instagram, we design our own filter. That's me and my friend and my colleague Margot. The filter, it was designed for the WD activities. So anything you're doing at the moment, you can just use the filter to record the activity. It's like a confetti rain. So it looks like a confetti because of the logo. So it just comes to paint the picture of celebration and activities and things that happen around World Diabetes Day. And you can easily find that when you go to your Instagram stories. You can go all the way to the right where you're going to search for a new filter, and then you just type World Diabetes Day and you're going to find our picture there. And then use as much as you can, and don't forget to tag us on @diabetesfeds and on WD page on Facebook and WD and Twitter. And just make sure that everything is tagged, because we love, in IDF, we love to promote other activities. So if you're doing an important activity, just make sure to send to us images and your schedule, because we will help you to promote your activity. And the more photos we get of those activities, the more we're going to reshare them all. We tend to share 90% of the amount that we get, and we really appreciate if everybody can just be part of our campaign this year. Thank you.
Okay, thanks a lot, Dilson. Following on from the importance of sharing. So one ask is, of course, to share on our campaign and our different elements on your social media channels, but secondly is also to share your activities on our dedicated platform. So we have a dedicated platform that's linked to from the World Diabetes Day website, where we encourage anyone who's organizing an awareness activity, either in November or in advance, or even after World Diabetes Day, to share this information with us. So this is it's a platform which features a global map where you can see the amount of activities taking place across the world. Every activity gets its own dedicated page. So as you can see in the example here, so you can add information about your activity, you can add images, and the platform is mainly in English, but you're welcome to upload your activity in your local language. So our goal is to have as many activities published on this platform as possible, so that we can communicate about the campaign, also promote what our community is doing in November through our different channels. So we very much encourage you to make use of this platform and share your information with us throughout the month of November. We already have, I think, over 200 activities registered from different countries, and we hope to receive many more by the end of November. So that's a run through of our campaign for this year. So the different elements, the main calls to action, and how you can support it. Now it's time for some questions. Just look at some of the questions that have been posted. So in terms of the one question is about the IDF school courses, whether they're available in can be adapted or available in multiple languages. There, it's the free courses which I showed you on the slide. They are the majority are available in English, French, and Spanish. Some are available in additional languages like Portuguese and a few others. And if you're interested in adapting a course, then I suggest that you contact the IDF school team. So you can get the contact email through the IDF School of Diabetes Day website. Then there was another question, which I think was partially answered, regarding the advocacy tool. So the call to action, the letter generation tool that that Bruno spoke to. So that is available in 3 languages as well. So English, French, and Spanish. And the letters are sent in those 3 languages depending on the health ministry. So for example, the French health minister would receive it in French, the Spanish in Spanish, etc. Even if you browse through even if you submit your letter through the English platform. So I don't think there, there were some other questions in terms of receiving Blue Circle pins and bracelets for use in activities. Now, it is possible to receive them in time for November. But they're primarily available for purchase, but we realize that the cost may be out of reach for many people in our community. So we can accommodate certain requests for free pins depending on the quantity and the activities. So I encourage you to, if you're interested in if you would like to receive some Blue Circle pins, please send an email to the World Diabetes Day address, which you can see on this screen, and we'll see what we can do so that you can have them in time for November. So I think that's everything that has come in. If you have any more questions after you receive the slides and after you, if you rewatch the recording, please send a request to World Diabetes Day at wdd@idf.org, and we'll answer as soon as we can to make sure that we can support as much as possible your amplification of our campaign. So that's all from our side. Lastly, I'd just like to thank you everyone for joining this this short information session. Also like to thank our sponsors who have made who are supporting World Diabetes Day this year, who make possible the different activities that we do. And with 3 weeks left for World Diabetes Day, I wish you, everyone who's organizing activity, everyone who's supporting the campaign, and everyone who is doing something to improve, to advocate and raise awareness of diabetes. We wish you the best of success for your efforts, and please feel free to reach out to us if you need any support from our side to engage with our campaign. And if, so I think some more questions have come in, but we will, we encourage you to send them to wdd@idf.org, and we will respond as soon as possible. If you have any questions regarding the advocacy call to action, you can share it with our advocacy team, and all the contact details will be again provided in the email that you will receive with the recording and the slides. So thank you very much for everyone for participating, and wish everyone a very happy, successful Diabetes Month and World Diabetes Day. Thank you very much.